No matter your age, your plan for retirement can start today. From the News Channel 5 Network, this is the Retirement Report.
Good morning and welcome to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. We're going to be talking about some areas related to retirement that need your special attention. One of them is an article I came across talking about the 15 mistakes even smart people make in retirement. We're going to talk about those kind of mistakes, how you can avoid them, developing strategies basically to overcome those kinds of concerns. The other is we're going to take up where we left off with regard to talking about taxes in retirement, but not just in general taxes. We're going to specifically talk about taxes related to your retirement accounts. How to make sure you're able to get the desired rate of return from your retirement accounts, how to make sure what the safe withdrawal rate, how much you can take from those safely to meet your income needs, but also to not have to worry about running out of retirement. And then some other strategies we're going to get into, like taxation of Social Security benefits, how to maximize all your resources basically in retirement. But first on this 15 mistakes, I found this pretty interesting. One of them was, the first one in fact, claiming Social Security too early. You're first eligible to take Social Security at age 62. All right, and then depending on your age, your date of birth rather, as to when you can, what your full retirement age would be. For instance, if you were born, let's see, from 1943 to 1954, your normal retirement age or full retirement age is age 66. And we'll talk about, there's some significant rules that work around that. 1955 is 66 and 2 months, 1956, 66 and 4 months, and each year it goes up 2 months to age date of birth of 1960 or later. Then your full retirement age would be age 67. So that's the time at which, when you get your Social Security statement, for instance, you'll notice it'll have your age 62, how much you could take at that point, your full retirement age, somewhere between 66 and 67, and what you would receive at that point. And then the maximum time in which you can delay taking Social Security and receive these delayed retirement credits, in other words, keep increasing the potential income, is age 70. No reason to delay beyond that, because at age 70, your Social Security basically maxes out. That's the most you would get paid. So there's no reason to delay any further. Now, why wait till age 67? Well, this goes to the next part. One of the second mistakes people make is not only taking too early, and this potentially, now for some people, taking at age 62 may make sense. There are a lot of different factors we take into consideration here. However, this is one of those areas you really need to determine for yourself. What's the best age for you to take Social Security? And if you're already, let's say, past 62 and you're looking at your Social Security statement, it'll tell you what you could get at the point, now if you're taking it, and what you would get if you waited, again, till full retirement or age 70. The next thing is, if you're going to take early, and this is mistake number 2, it's continuing to work after you claim Social Security. This can cause you to lose some of your benefits, or to have your benefits reduced, and then they would be recalculated later. But again, why do that? It's one of those areas that can create problems for you. And in this one, it was, I think, let's see, where was it at? Yeah, the annual limit this year is $17,040, meaning if you take Social Security at age 62 and you still work, for every $2 over that annual limit of $17,040, you would lose a dollar of benefits. All right, carrying debt into retirement. This is another big mistake. Now, occasionally people might have mortgages, or there may be debt that's smart to carry. Okay, an example would be that mortgage. So if you've got a mortgage, and let's say with interest rates being as low as they are, you're paying somewhere under 4%, maybe 3.5%, then maybe that's not such a bad idea. Maybe in other words, your investments hopefully are at least making 5 or 6. And in the last 10 years, the market, the S&P 500 index, has averaged over 13% a year. We're up over 20% year to date this year. So depending on how you're invested, all right, and your overall financial picture, this is where that could come in. Now, I'm not a proponent of debt in terms of, you certainly don't want to have credit card debt. You don't want to have auto loans and those kind of things, which are typically higher interest, especially credit cards, higher interest debt. That's going to be detrimental to your retirement. And if you've got a lot of debt, here's one of the things to understand about debt. Right? If you're living within your means, there's no reason to have debt, and again, unless it's smart debt, unless it's debt that you're purposely taking. Again, my example of a mortgage. If I've got a 3% mortgage and I'm earning 6% on my money, well, then I'm not really too concerned about it. I'm making money on that money. And I know that that 3% is fixed, it's not going to go up, and I know that I'm going to be able to, my investments are going to go up. All right, so at any point I could pay off that debt, and that's the other key here, is that it's not that I don't have the money to pay it off, I've got it, it's that I'm choosing to keep it working so that it's multiplying my benefit. I'm going to have more money in the end doing it that way. Now that's not for everybody, and that's why you'd want to get your own personalized plan to determine if that's a good strategy for you. But that's the only time as far as debt goes going into retirement that you would want to have debt. If you've got debt going in, it's more about consumer debt, more about car payments and credit cards and that kind of thing, and you're not paying those off every month, your credit cards that is, that's a problem, all right? Because what we're talking about now is you're basically not able to live within your income. Fortunately for me, most of my clients, that doesn't apply, all right? This is one of the things that we, if that is your situation, and you're looking at retirement, I would say to you, you need to get that spending in hand. You need to have a plan for paying off that debt and being able to live on what will be a fixed income in retirement, and understanding exactly how much you're going to have. Because this goes to another one that we get into when you're investing for retirement. All right, so let's get rid of the debt thing. That's hopefully you're not in that position. If you are, you need a debt payoff plan to basically get rid of that, all right, before retirement. And you need to be able to stay out of debt, of course, in retirement. All right, when you're on a fixed income, that can be one of the worst things ever. All right, being too conservative with your investments. This is another area. If you've just got everything parked in a bank account or something like that, and you're not earning enough to stay ahead of inflation and taxes, you're losing purchasing power, and that potentially could translate into running out of money later in your retirement years. Another, right, the opposite of that is being too aggressive with investments. This is an area where, depending on how you invest, so there's a difference between investing, utilizing principles I talk about all the time, such as modern portfolio theory. There's one, there's a smart way to invest in the markets as an example, and then there's a way that's more speculative. It's more like gambling, and you don't want to do that with your nest egg. I mean, maybe you have a side account and you want to play around a little bit as a hobby, and you're not risking any more than you can afford to lose. That's a different matter. But investing too aggressively in retirement, and you go through a down market period, or investing real aggressively to where you're out speculating with individual stocks, and those companies get in trouble, and all of a sudden you lose all of your money. Investing smart in the market, you're going to have market volatility, so you're going to have times when you might be down in the market. Depending, a moderate portfolio, for instance, in the last two bear markets, in the first one from 2000 through 2002, a moderate portfolio, 50-50, say stocks and bonds, when properly diversified, we're utilizing the asset allocation models we talk about. Doing it that way, you would have probably been about a break even. You wouldn't have, even when the market was over 40% down over that 3-year period, over 45% actually, that portfolio held up very well and was down just less than 1%. Now, on the other hand, if you look at 2008, when the market dropped almost 40% that 1 year and 55% over that bear market period, the balanced portfolio still would have saved you. Okay, in that period, the balanced portfolio only lost about half that, about 20%, and it recovered twice as fast. It took the market 5 years to recover from that bear, the S&P 500 index, in other words. So it dropped in 2008. It dropped almost 40%, and it took 5 years from the beginning of that bear market to the time when you were back to a break even of what you had before the bear market. The moderate portfolio, on the other hand, within 2 years had recovered from that bear market. So this is 2.5 years. So this is what you want to look at as far as your asset allocation. This one we're talking about investing. Being too aggressive can, of course, set you up to potentially run out of money as well. All right, we're going to talk about some others, and this is, tied in with that, overexposure to a particular, to one stock or a particular asset class. That's how that gets set up, by being too aggressive as well. All right, there's more that we're going to cover, both on the mistakes and then into some strategies on how to make sure that your retirement income, right, is going to be both tax efficient and sufficient to last throughout your lifetime, being able to give you the, being able to maintain your standard of living and quality of life no matter how long you live. All right, we're going to get into that and more. Join us here. We'll be right back on the Retirement Report.